Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I am Mr. Bennett, joined by my partners, as always, Brother Shawnee, my brother Dante. Got caught up a little traffic, so I hope he gets home safe. Hope he can still jump on the stream tonight, and certainly, hopefully, the coach he'll be joining us shortly as well. But good to be with you here on this Wednesday. It's a lot of things going on in the world of sports. So again, you got spring training in baseball, but you got the NFL, you got the NBA, all kinds of things going on. But before we get into this tonight, I just want to welcome my brother Shawnee to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Man, everything going good, man. I'm on the downside of a cold, so that's bad. I think I have.
How do you get a cold in Texas, man?
Man, for whatever reason, I get a cold every time the seasons change.
Ah, okay.
And for whatever reason, we've been having, like, it's supposed to happen again Friday, like these huge high winds, like 40, 50 miles an hour. One time it was like 70 miles an hour. Just
yeah.
So I don't know what's really going on, but yeah, it's been blowing up here.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because again, you guys did have some winter storms around the bowl season and whatnot as well. So it's not always warm down there. You definitely get your snow and your seasonal weather.
North Texas, we actually have seasons in North Texas. Down in the Houston area near the Gulf Coast, that's where everything is so murky because it's just so humid down there.
Right.
It just takes over.
Gotcha. Good stuff. All right, well, let's get into this. Topics tonight. So again, we've got a lot of ground to cover. I may even have my man Mandrell. He may come in towards the end. We didn't get a chance because of all the football stuff going on last week. We didn't get a chance to get into boxing, so I wanted to chop that up a little bit as well. So hopefully he'll be joining us in the second hour. But yeah, just wanted to get back. It seems like all the good stuff happens right after a show, right, or the day after a show. And so here you had an interesting conversation. So let's start in the NBA. Let's start in that block since we did a lot of football last week. So you had the Knicks. I mean, the Lakers were playing the Knicks in New York. Stephen A. Smith was sitting courtside, and LeBron James came up to him. And obviously, I don't think we got all of what was said, but he basically told Stephen A. basically keep my son name out your mouth. Now, Stephen A. certainly he's been critical. I mean, of Bronny James in terms of his play, whether or not he's NBA caliber or NBA ready. But even LeBron James has admitted that he recognizes that his son isn't necessarily ready for the next level. But he did force the Lakers to draft his son. But certainly, he's been criticized for that. Bronny's been criticized to a degree. So I guess the first question is, do you think that LeBron stepped over the line when confronting Stephen A. About his son? And then also you had the next day, because Stephen A. also, he just got the benefit of $100 million contract, 5-year, $100 million contract to stay with ESPN. So he addressed it, I guess, the next day on air. And I thought he handled it pretty well. But what was your take on the exchange and the replies that were after? I think even LeBron, he had released a video kind of explaining the situation as well. But what was your take on that on that situation?
Well, Stephen A., I believe it was last night. He was on Gil Arenas podcast, and he said what LeBron was saying, and basically basically keep your son's name out his mouth. It was a different tone because when it happened, whatever night that it happened, Stephen A. wasn't. He said he wasn't. He mentioned he wasn't going to really bring it up, on First Take, and because it literally went viral overnight.
Right.
He and his bosses up there, ESPN, just, hey, you might as well just bring it up now. Everybody talking about it, so you might as well speak on it.
Right.
And
Right.
He spoke about it on First Take, and then he had a different tone on Gil's podcast. But me, I'm a regular First Take watcher, and what I just didn't understand is this: Stephen A. he was always hesitant or cautious whenever he critiqued Bronny, because I remember because Bronny was in national news even before he went to college,
Right.
even in
Right.
high school and stuff. So he was like,
Right.
I don't feel good, trying to critique a kid who's still in high school. So he always kind of shunned away from that. And then even in college, you really couldn't really critique nothing in college because remember he had that heart issue. So he
Right.
missed a
Right.
lot of a college experience. So he was like, oh, we just hope he gets well because we didn't even know he could play basketball again after that heart issue. And basically, it looked like as soon as he got healed, he declared for the NBA. It was like, but you you didn't do nothing in college. How you gonna declare the NBA? You just got healed and cleared from having a heart issue. So then he gets drafted. His numbers coming out of college is by far not draft worthy. So pretty much the basketball community, it was not Stephen A. Smith, it was the basketball community saying like, Bronny, you only getting drafted because of your dad. And Stephen A. was basically whenever after Bronny became a pro, he never really came at Bronny. He was like, okay, Bronny is on this like two-way deal anyway between the Lakers and their G League team, and he was like, well, he's just a rookie anyway, so he's gonna, he's gonna get his bumps and take his bumps or whatever. So he wasn't really expecting. It was just a young. He's going to G League, so he's developing his skill set and whatnot. So that's how Stephen A. basically always approached it. But it's when the noise from the basketball community started getting louder and louder, and Stephen A. was now basically, he wasn't talking to Bronny, he was talking to LeBron. He was like, hey, man, you kind of responsible for this because even before Bronny became a pro, it was LeBron who put a tweet out there saying that his son is already, when he was in college, early years in college, late high school, saying his
Right.
son is already better than some of these dudes in the pros.
So let me ask you then: do you think that LeBron's reaction was more so not so much a critique of Bronny, but more so he felt he was being critiqued as a parent?
I,
Because Stephen A is basically saying, look, you're the one who went out there talking all this stuff about your son, and you basically put him in this situation where he's getting this criticism from people. I mean, he's playing fairly well in the G League. I mean, obviously still not ready for for an NBA roster, not on a bench, but he's playing better. I think he can certainly I think transform into a decent NBA player. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar or anything like that. But basically was because again, it just as men, if anybody comes at us and basically kind of makes an accusation that we're critiques our parenting style, we're going to feel a certain way about it. So do you think at the heart of the issue was when he felt that his parenting was being attacked more so than himself or Bronny specifically?
nah, I think it was more Bronny because I can't remember an athlete in any sport who's been as scrutinized as LeBron James.
Right.
This dude, even though you can't really find anything he did wrong, he's been a model citizen as far as a basketball player.
Right.
You can critique his decision and stuff. You got to go to like his free agent decision making when he originally left the Cavs and go to Miami, and people have an issue with that.
Right.
But other than that, you really.
But to that point, though, in fact, let me just thank you, CJ Wilkins. Thank you for the $5 super chat. So Skip Bayless disrespected LeBron's named 30 ways to Sunday for 20 years in crickets. Basically didn't say anything, but he played Suge Knight with Stephen A. LaRuckus James.
That's why I say it was more Bronny because everybody critiques, even when LeBron. I think we had a couple of shows ago. We had a conversation about the face of the NBA, and with LeBron, he's a face because he also not afraid to speak up on some social issues.
Correct.
And in today's in this country today, as soon as you speak up on social issues, that crowd on the other side is gonna get very loud.
Right.
So when LeBron steps out and it was real loud and real bold during the COVID years and the bubble and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
He faced a lot of criticism and whatnot, the woke and all that. So he's used to people coming after him because they come after him from all areas. It's not even basketball no more. You got what's his name, the former basketball player. What's his name? I think he changed his name. Enes Freedom now, formerly Enes Kanter.
Okay.
Criticizing LeBron about his shoes in China and all that. Everybody come after him for everything.
Right.
He came after Stephen A. because he thought he was just speaking too much on his son, and Stephen A. never really came at his son. Only thing Stephen A. was addressing was a lot of this noise that people constantly talk about Bronny and how he should not be in the league. And at one point, especially in the beginning of the league, it was very loud. Mm-hmm. People was very loud about Bronny, how you only in here because of dad. And Stephen A. was like, you responsible for this because the spotlight that you put on this. That's all Stephen A. really said. And so I just think, and LeBron James, him and Stephen A. never really had a buddy-buddy relationship, so I think they just had like a high and by when they see each other, and that was it. He don't contact, because Stephen A. he's close to NBA players, but he's just not really close to LeBron. Because I think from what Stephen A. be saying on First Take, as much praise as he give LeBron because he thinks Jordan is his number one and whatnot. It I don't know. It just rubs LeBron and his camp the wrong way. Even though Stephen A. is cool with his homeboys like Rich Paul and Maverick and all that, but that's just going over there. But I think all that between Stephen A. and LeBron was basically deal with Bronny. And I don't Well, I'll be honest. I think if I was Bronny, and maybe Bronny is used to it. You a grown man now who's a professional in the NBA and the G League. That's still a professional league over there as well. You going welcome to being a professional athlete. Your game is going to get critiqued by talking heads,
Right.
and I guess you can't always have your pops coming up and standing up to these other people because I mean, I understand that's his son, but
Right.
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. It was a while ago. If Ken Griffey was like that with Griffey Jr. and some other players, it's like, okay, you're a pro now. You gotta handle yourself in this league. You're gonna have to get used to the critiques that's coming from. It's louder now because everybody has a voice with social media and all these opinionated talk shows. They don't just show highlights anymore like SportsCenter of the old. Everybody got an opinion based on your game and whatnot, and you're gonna have to do that. But you just can't have your dad just getting just spontaneously coming out of a timeout and going to approach a dude in the middle of a game. So yeah, I kind of thought LeBron I understand like Stephen A. He said he knew it came from a father standpoint. I
Right.
understand where LeBron's coming from, but I'm like, your son is a grown man now, and he's in professional in the same league as you.
What I say? That's my thing. He's not in the same league. I mean, he's in the G. I mean, really, if he was anybody else, will we even talk about him? Because again, he's not on. If he was legitimately taking a 12th, 11th, or 12th roster spot from an NBA player, then I could possibly see people having criticism that he hasn't earned an NBA spot. But clearly, he's not ready, and he's playing in the G League. So if he's playing there, he's working on his game or what have you. He's not even worth talking about. So that's why, and LeBron, he even admitted that on his live. He said, "Yes, I know my son isn't ready, for the NBA, and yes, I twisted the Lakers' arms to get him here. I recognize all of that. So that's why I'm thinking that it's more so. I thought Stephen A. was basically calling out LeBron as a bad parent for putting your son in this situation for this. That is basically it's your fault for doing that more so than Bronny James specifically. I didn't think that
Well,
it wouldn't have struck a chord unless you talk because you can attack LeBron's game, his advocacy, all those kind of things. But when you get into anybody says something about your parenting, that's going to hit a little bit different than just criticism of your play or anything else that you may do
well,
personally.
I don't really know if he really attacked his parenting. He was just saying because all of this. The thing about LeBron is like he's the one who lit the fire. LeBron lit the fire when he made the comparison. Saying he went on social media and put that
And what I'm
Bronny
saying, and
is better.
that can be looked at as bad parenting.
So
Why put
Stephen
that
A. was
pressure
just
on your son?
addressing the noise that was
Correct.
coming from the basketball community. That's all. He wasn't really. He always. If you watch First Take, the one thing that Stephen A. always put on the bottom of his ticker because LeBron get kind of sensitive
A
sometimes.
wonderful father.
Exactly. He lists all
great
this about
husband.
LeBron. He always praised LeBron for being an excellent father.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely wasn't. I don't believe he was critiquing his being a
But
father
when
to
you say you set this up because you said all these things about your son when you knew he
Exactly.
wasn't ready, I think in that context I can look at it as that's being a bad parent
Because like it's
again
like
you
he
never
lit the
want to put your
fire,
kids in
it
a
happened.
situation. Yeah,
It's you open Pandora's box now. Like everybody ought to kind of looking at your son with a eye. I mean, it was stages, man. It was just stages. We was
yeah,
all wishing his son well wishes with a heart issue, and we was
right.
generally concerned like he may not even play basketball again. And then as soon as he gets healed, he don't play no more for USC. He declares for the NBA. Like you barely even played in college, and now you going straight to the NBA, and then he actually gets drafted. So we like it wasn't the fact that he's in that 12th man spot that he has on the Lakers whenever he goes back and forth between that and the G League, that 12th man spot on the roster is usually by a player who don't even play anyway for the most part. He's just
Right.
somebody on the roster.
Right.
So, but his numbers is like, yeah, you definitely, I mean, it's one thing that he was just drafted into the NBA, but to be drafted by the Lakers, where your dad is a player of that team, it just everything was just, just lines
Yeah.
up for him. So everybody already looking at him, and then LeBron goes and pours that through that match out, making a statement about his son's skill set compared to the current NBA players.
Right.
And then when he gets in, he's barely averaging ones down the line. Matter of fact, I think he's averaging below ones down the line. So we like, dude. But that's all Steve A was really talking about. And, but like I said, he came as a father, but unless you plan on doing this to everybody who say anything about Bronny, you're going to be, I know last week we was talking about how long LeBron can play because of his skill set and his conditioning.
Right.
You gonna wear yourself out earlier. Keep trying to fight everybody for Bronny. You got to let him grow up.
Yeah, true that. Oh, 100%. 100%. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about, look, I'm still picking the Celtics to come out of the East, but I must admit that I am looking behind my back a little bit. Cleveland Cavaliers won their 15th straight game. They're playing great basketball right now. Are they? I mean, obviously they're a threat because obviously they're in first place. They're going to get the number one. More than likely, I don't think the Celtics will catch them. I think they're 7.5 games up, so they're going to get the number one seed in this. But how has your appreciation for the Cavs? What do you think their likelihood is to get out of the East? Are they in fact a legit threat, or even more so, are they the favorites to come out of the East over the Celtics? 'Cause I really can't see anybody else, overtaking either one of them. But what's your take on what you're seeing from Cleveland? They're hot. They're the hottest team in the NBA right now.
Well, Cleveland, for one, they are a legit threat. They are a legit threat. Boston, it's not like Cleveland's just way above Boston. Boston is right there. It's right there. And Boston has some key injuries. I think Drew Holiday just came back, so they had some key players. And that Drew Holiday was huge for them in their title run last year. So they just basically just treading water, keeping up with them into the playoffs. Okay, you most likely Cleveland, you're gonna win number one seed. Okay, Boston can come to Cleveland and challenge you there. So I just think like what a lot of teams, when you talk about sports, you got this young team, this young good team versus this experienced good team.
They can't call them old. I mean, they got a couple older guys.
Yeah.
Horford's old, but these guys are in their prime.
Horford and Drew are probably the oldest players. Fourth or fifth seed. No, they right behind you.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you may take number one seed, but what they have that Cleveland don't have is experience, and that just matters.
Yeah.
And they're two young dudes on experience. That's Tatum and Brown. So, yeah, I think Cleveland definitely has the talent to make it out of the East, but and I'm trying to think because I just don't like automatically putting the top two seeds of the regular season in the conference finals. I think Milwaukee, because remember Bobby Portis is currently out because he's suspended.
Mm-hmm.
He should be back, and it's going to be interesting to see what rhythm they get into. Indiana, it's just like Indiana. I think I can't remember how they defense because I remember last year they was all offense, no defense.
Right.
And they gave Boston fits in the playoffs last year. So yeah, I know Boston and Cleveland getting all the attention in the East. Usually Miami will be up there, kind of in the mix. You can't never take them lightly, but now that Jimmy Butler's no longer there, they just pretty much existing.
Right.
But yeah, I think Cleveland definitely has the talent to get out, but you definitely cannot take lightly the Celtics' experience.
Gotcha. Yeah, and their bench. I mean, they're developing a very solid bench.
That
Pritchard. I mean,
too.
he dropped
That too.
40 the other night. They're getting it from all over. So their second team is really deep. And we'll see if we get Porzingis, if he can get healthy by the time the playoffs start. He'll be an addition. I know the effect he had last year. He came off the bench. Was out most of the year. Came into the I think game one and hit like 6 threes or something like that. So I mean,
Hmm.
so if he can contribute some as well. So I like the depth that Boston has. But let's switch over to the West. OKC still your favorite to come out, or are you looking at LA? I know LeBron. I know he had a slight groin pull, so he's out for about a week or so. But they're still I think they lost 2 in a row. Again, last game I think without LeBron. But how favorable do you think it is for OKC? Are they the favorites to come out? Or do you think LA may may still come out there? And then I'm going to lead to another question after that. So
I
go ahead.
still have OKC coming out of there because they just the most complete team. I think they're the most complete team in the
Mm,
NBA. They could do it. Now they do. They are. I think you mentioned it last week. Jalen Williams, he could be streaky. So they have a tendency to depend on SGA a lot in their games.
right.
But because he's just so efficient, I mean, he delivers.
Yeah.
You lean on him, he delivers. So
Right.
okay, he's doing what a star player is supposed to do. But they have defense, they have length, and they can just do everything around the board. Um, I know they had that back-to-back game with Denver. They won, had a convincing win in game one, and then the very next night, uh, Denver beat them.
Right.
So
Right.
you have Denver. Denver is starting to hit their stride. So I'll put Denver above LA.
Okay.
We
Okay.
know Denver is like Boston. They make sure they healthy, go through the season, but they already have the chemistry. And you already know they're gonna be a tough out in the playoffs, which surprised me last year when Minnesota beat them.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that was, but they not the same because Cat is not with Minnesota. So I got OKC coming out the West, but I believe I'm just waiting something with the Lakers, man. They playing good, but I don't know if they role players. You're not looking at LeBron and Luca. You know they'll be there. They're
Right.
role players because it's like they playing high. Well, they was playing high until LeBron got injured, and I don't know if they role players gonna be able to go against the depth of Denver and the depth of OKC. And then my Rockets, they are making it in the playoffs. I just want them to get experience. They're a young team, almost like
Right.
Detroit. Detroit is the same thing. I think they're gonna make the playoffs. They're looking good.
Yeah.
You just let them go there, get their experience, and then whatever holes that those two respective teams have, you could address those during the off season. And so yeah, I got OKC coming out the West, but basically just like in the East, I got Cleveland coming out by the slimmest of margins over Boston. Basically, it's a 50-50 game when them two teams play. I think it's a 50-50 game between OKC and Denver because
Gotcha.
Denver they just have the experience. And what was that not too long ago when Joker had what, a 30-20-20? Yeah, that dude's
Yeah.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
man. He's
Yeah.
ridiculous, man.
Yeah. He comes at the right time.
He
And I
do.
know, in fact, Boston is playing OKC now. It's
Yeah, I'm looking at that game now. It's a
51-47,
good game now.
4:22 left in the first half. So I'll definitely be catching the second half after the show is over. But yeah, but that we could be looking at a preview of the finals. Certainly with those two teams. But I found it interesting that last week again, Celtics played the Lakers in Boston. The ratings, they said this was the highest rated regular season game in 7.5 years. So all that history going back to the 50s with the Celtics and the Lakers, the 80s, Showtime, Bird, Magic. it still seems to be that is still the marquee matchup that for the NBA, like, I mean, Cleveland and OKC in the finals, I mean, yes, it'd be a great story, young teams, young talent. You're going to sort of go to the, pass the torch to the younger players. But from a media perspective, from a marketing perspective, I don't think anything to this day still beats Celtics LA. Just like the Yankees playing the Dodgers in the World Series, or Yankees Boston East Coast. Pick your rivalry, Duke North Carolina basketball or something. I still think that is still in the minds of many NBA fans. That's still the marquee matchup. And it doesn't hurt that both of these teams, they both have the most championships. Celtics 18, and I think the Lakers with 17 championships. So and again, this might be LeBron's last hurrah as well. So now I know what the league would want. So I don't know if the whistles will be going in either team's direction to make sure that they ensure a favorable outcome. But when I saw that, I couldn't believe it. But it doesn't matter who change the players, change the jerseys. But Celtics LA, that was, and again, I grew up in the Celtics with Bird and Magic, and those guys literally saved the NBA, saved it. I mean, because back then you had the finals that was on tape delay, and then when CBS brokered a new deal in 1984, live, again, highest rated sporting contest of the year, and so that was definitely awesome. But I think CJ has a question here for the panel. If Boston wins the championship this year, are they considered a dynasty? Also, is Jason Tatum considered the best player in the league? Well, I'd say definitely no on the latter. Tatum is fun. I mean, and again, I'm a lifelong Celtic fan. I have a Larry Bird jersey. All right, so I'm as big as of a homer than you can get for the Celtics. But just as I said last week when we were talking about superstars, Jason Tatum is a star. Jaylen Brown is a star, but they're not superstars because, again, the definition of that is somebody who you actually pay money to see, regardless of what fan you are. It's like must-see TV. You either go to the game or you tune in on TV. And because Jaylen Brown is there, it's going to be hard to also give Jason Tatum that title because. Because again, he's got a partner, and again, the team is deep. They got shooters all over the place. So all Jason Tatum has to do is just play within his game, and he's good. Like, he doesn't have to be Superman in order to get his team to win. So I definitely wouldn't say that he's the best player in the league, and I definitely wouldn't. For me, when you talk about dynasty, it's got to be more than two. It's got to be like 3 and 4. Well, I guess it depends on the sport. Because we were talking that, but even still, like even in football, right? Because we were talking about is Kansas City a dynasty? Kansas City Chiefs. If they would have won this one against the Eagles, then I would say, yeah, you're talking like 70s Steelers or 90s Cowboys. Well, even the Cowboys Cowboys won what, 3 and 4?
They consider the Cowboys a dynasty.
Yeah, but they won like 3 and 4, right? 92, 93, and 95, something like that.
3. They won back-to-back, and then
they won in 95 against my Steelers. Yeah. They beat us in 95. So yeah, I think that the magic number for me is it's not just the champion, because I don't even consider that those San Antonio Spurs teams from the early 2000s, because they won 5. I think, they won 5, but it was kind of like spread out over time, from 2000, I think 2001. No, 99, they won their first one. That was with David Robinson, and I think Duncan was a rookie. Then they won their next one like in 2002 or something like that, and then 2000. So it was like every couple years they would kind of win when who's the guy who's always hurt? I just lost his name. Brother with the braids.
Kawhi?
Kawhi. When he got there, they kind of had another run. So, again, they won 5 overall from 99 to 2012, 2011. But it wasn't like in bunches, So I think I think to be a dynasty, I think 3 is the magic number. And it's got to be within, I would say, maybe a 5 or 6 year period. If you want to talk about dynasty. What's your take on that?
My thing is a dynasty. Like I consider my Astros like the latest dynasty in baseball because you the gatekeeper. Basically, the road to a championship goes through you.
Mhm.
So basically, you either in the championship game, you won multiple titles, and you probably lost some, but you was there. They had
Yeah,
to go through you.
yeah.
So the Warriors, they obviously was a dynasty. Um, the Heat was. I mean, it's just a. I guess those are smaller dynasties because I guess some people originally say dynasties would be teams that had like over a stretch. That's why I say my Astros because they went to 8 straight ALCSs.
Yeah.
So they was literally the gatekeeper in the American League. And you look at are the Chiefs are a dynasty? Yes, because they are literally the gatekeeper in NFL. You know, it's like the last if they was there in the last what 5 Super Bowls.
Well, they had the one Cincinnati. I think beat them once, but yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah. So, but other than that, they was there. They was the gatekeeper.
yeah.
You either beat them in the Super Bowl like the Bucks and the Eagles did this past Super Bowl, or they ultimately won their titles. So, it's to me a dynasty is a team that is just there at the top. They
Mm,
gonna be there at the top, and you have to go through them.
yeah.
And they, of course, they gonna have multiple titles because I know when we say that, it always takes me back to the unfortunate Buffalo Bills of the early
Yeah,
'90s.
Buffalo Bills. Look at I think the Denver
That
Broncos
is
with
that is probably
Elway.
the I don't.
Yeah,
That is like the enigma of that whole dynasty because if you go to 4 straight Super Bowls, I'm gonna call
yeah.
you a dynasty. And they had some unfortunate luck. Everybody talking about that. What's that? What was it? Wide right?
Well, they had wide right in the first Super Bowl. I was
Yeah.
close, but then they were up on Houston. They were up 38-3 at half, and then lost the game.
No,
So
no,
they
that
had.
was flipped.
Oh, that was the
Flipped.
other way around. Actually, they
Houston,
beat
yeah.
you right.
Buffalo
Houston
came
they
back.
came
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
win that one.
Buffalo came back
But
on
then
that
they
one.
had those games against the Cowboys. I mean,
Yeah.
Thurman Thomas became a fumble machine. He just could not hold the ball in those games. So yeah, I can't put him there. So dynasty. I think 3 is the magic number. Even if you do a back to back. I still think you need to be in that. So like the Warriors, the Golden State, they won, I think 2015. Then they lost I think in 16, and then 17 and 18 back to back with KD. So I think it has to be bunched if you want to have a dynasty. Back in the day when you had the Celtics and Lakers playing, it was like every other year. It's the Lakers, it's the Celtics, it's the Lakers. I think the Phil 76ers. I think they upset the apple cart, I think, one time in 1983. But it was either like one of those teams. I think Magic won 5 and Bird won 3. So it was just like, they owned the decade. So I would certainly put those teams in that I would put those teams in that category as well. But last point on the I think we're done with the NBA. Let's move on to the NFL. So again, it's had some big news, obviously, with the before the Tampa period and the free agency session that just opened up. So the top stories from there was, so obviously you had these guys, Max Crosby and Myles Garrett, who made public statements that they didn't think that they could win. They wanted to be part of a winning situation with their teams, with other teams. They made it very public that they wanted to go somewhere else, but both of them capitulated to the money. So again, the banner for the show tonight, what's winning have to do with it? That basically Myles got the largest non-quarterback contract, I think, in history, $40 million a year, with I think over $100 million plus of that guaranteed. Max Crosby, I think, got $38.5 million. Certainly to stay with the Raiders. So winning only counts so much. I would ask you, What would you rather? What would you rather be? Would you rather be highly paid, or would you rather be average paid but part of a championship team? What would matter to you? Well, let me ask you this: would you rather be part of a? Because I asked actually a former professional baseball player this. He had his own channel. I asked him. So I said, would he rather be in part of a World Series team, or would he rather never win a World Series, but he was at one time he was an MVP? And I said MVP because an MVP, especially in today's game, when you talk about what these guys getting $500, $600, $700 million contracts, I can live with not never winning. But that's just me. But what say you to I guess the news of both Crosby and Miles staying? And what would you rather? Would you rather take the money, show me the money, or show me the rings?
Well, going to your previous, what, the MVP or the title, I'll probably pick MVP as well because the title, everything has to fall into place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in everything. I mean, baseball is they postseason unpredictable. Football, literally one injury can derail your entire season.
Right.
So when you like an MVP, a lot of times it just validates that you had the skill set that to succeed and thrive at the highest level, you know, which appears whatnot. So, it probably means more. Now, a title definitely means a lot because you don't want to. So going to Max Crosby and Garrett, in particular Garrett, because Garrett already had a big contract. His last contract was big,
right?
So he already had the money. So he was like, okay, and which I understood. He gave a lot to Cleveland, and they thought they was about to turn the corner when they signed Watson, but that's probably going to go down as probably one of the worst deals of NFL history.
Yeah.
Because not only that contract, but the trades that Houston used to build their respective teams. So that, it to me, with the money and the titles, 'cause I can't remember the last contract Crosby got. But just the fact that they both was like, hey, I want to go to a winning actual contender team because both franchises basically they either, I guess it's polite to say the Browns have been mediocre, but they've been kind of below. I think the Browns have been mediocre.
But they had that one surprise when they got Joe Flacco that one year they got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then it's just been a disaster ever since.
You got Russell. They have been very bad. They definitely have been,
and they don't have, and like, what's the plan at quarterback? So again, I don't even know what they. I mean, it has to be the money because if you want to tell me it's like, okay, he didn't think that he couldn't see the plan forward. What I don't think they sold him anything different than what he already had because right now, I mean, Watson's basically going to be out for the year. I mean, he's not going to be anywhere near Brady. Russell Wilson is going there today to talk to the Browns, and they also acquired Kenny Pickett. So how ironic is this? The Steelers' last two starting quarterbacks are going to interview with Cleveland, and I don't know if it's a guarantee that they're going to draft the Miami quarterback or Shador. I don't know what
that's what they need to do.
I don't know what the plan is going to be, but still, how does that doesn't necessarily make you a winner. I mean, certainly if you draft the rookie quarterback, it's going to take a minute. Russell, I mean, he's serviceable, and Kenny Pickett, he didn't do a whole lot with us as well. So I don't see what the plan is. So I'm thinking it just had to be. It was just an offer he couldn't refuse, and again, being the highest paid non-skill position player, non-quarterback player, that you figure, I think that's all that boiled down to.
Well, if you think about the Browns, the Browns are not really a team that free agents choose to go to. So think about their last two biggest acquisitions. That is like their biggest thing. They just throw money at their targets. Because remember before Watson ultimately signed for his fully guaranteed deal, he crossed the Browns off his list as potential teams to be traded to. He didn't want to go there. I think he was looking at Atlanta.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Browns like, okay, you don't want to come to us. What happens if we give you, what was it, $232 guaranteed, something like that? What if we give you this fully guaranteed contract that's going to break the mold to the point where the rest of the NFL is not even going to use this contract as a market setter because it was just so unique and they hated it. But what happened if we give you this money? Okay, here come Myles Garrett, several years, fast forward a couple of more seasons. Man, y'all, we not.
But I don't even think he gave any other team a chance. Because I know Washington, they were saying if he goes to
the because they the Browns kept what's the owner name?
Geez, just off the top of my head.
He was not wanting to see Garrett because Garrett was he was like trade meat, but he did not want to have talks with Garrett. He kept leading Garrett to the GM. Mm-hmm. He didn't want. The Browns did not want to trade Garrett. That was basically so. That's when conversation. Okay, throw extra money at it, which ultimately became this largest.
Jimmy Haslam.
Yeah,
Jimmy Haslam. Yeah.
He did not want to meet with Garrett. He kept you go see the GM. Yeah. And then the money came into play, and Garrett like, okay, I signed this huge contract. So again, they just threw all this money at their high value target because other than that, that player didn't want to come to them.
Yeah.
And Myles Garrett, he didn't want to be with them anymore. And he
right.
gave them actual years of service. So it's just the way the Browns just go about things. They just throw money and an obscene amount of money to these players. And it's like they're not even really thinking about their cap. They just say, we're just going to give you all this money. And it comes back to bite them. But as far as they plan need to pick. They have an early enough pick. They need to go ahead and pick Ward Sanders.
Yeah.
You need to go ahead. Don't be messing around with these bridge quarterbacks or whatnot. Just pick
well, again,
one
they're interviewing
they're
interviewing two. I mean, Pickett's already with the team. He's already signed. And like I said, Russell's going there now. So if they want to get two vets and they want to have the young guy to learn behind that. But it's not an ideal situation as far as the players at skill positions. Not sure what's going on there. So but $40 million, we'll cover a lot of things.
Yeah, you just basically chose winning instead. I mean, you chose the money instead of winning, and for him, this is the second monster contract.
Yeah, and look, and he's earned his money. I mean, the guy's still in his prime. I think he's like 28 years old. He's still in his prime, and he's always in the depoy conversation every year.
Well, I think Dante mentioned before we move on to the next topic. I think Dante mentioned in the chat. Like, unlike the NBA, the NBA players, that whole player empowerment, they'll just sit there and act a fool. What's up, coach? They'll just act a fool. They want to leave a certain team.
Yeah.
And, ultimately, the team will trade them. NFL, they basically, if they don't want to trade you, they're not going to trade you. So the players are sitting there like, hey, I want to be traded. NFL, like, we don't care. You're going to sit here. Gotcha. I mean, so basically, Garrett, even though he wanted to be traded, he couldn't really do anything.
Right. So, well, he certainly couldn't do anything until the trade opened up. So I guess they did all this, before he got out there on the market. They took care of him and Crosby. They nipped this in the bud. But shout out to again. CJ, again, thank you for the $5 super chat. So joining a title contender isn't a guarantee that you will win a Super Bowl. The window to generate generational wealth isn't wide. Myles did what was best. Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, show me the money, and I'll take that on. But again, appreciate the super chat. You did have a question also. Question for the panel: what player needs? So back to the NBA. What player needs to get to the finals this year for their career? I say Dame Leonard in Milwaukee or Russell Westbrook in Denver. I may put a little bit more on Dame simply because he's still kind of playing. I mean, Russ. I mean, at this point of his career, it's almost like the vet who just signs on. He may get it like towards the end of his career. So it would be like, almost ceremonial at that point. Dame, I think, is still, he's towards the end of his prime years, but he's still Dame Dollar. And so if he could certainly get one, and this might be, but I think the window's certainly closing on him to get it. So I would think the pressure would be more so on him more so than Westbrook. But Westbrook, I can't see him being a major contributor to Denver's success in getting there. So him is just like more so I'm just glad to be there. But if you're talking about still trying to find your legacy, I think Dame still has a lot to try to play for. And otherwise, he's going to be like Charles Barkley or just some of these great NBA players, all NBA type of players who just never got the who just never got the big one. But Shawnee, what do you think about that?
I think Dame is a huge one because he was still believed to be a huge piece to whatever team he's going to. Because another player I was thinking about was Jimmy Butler. But even Butler, when Dame went to the Bucks, I remember talking to him immediately putting the Bucks as the title favorites because now you have Giannis and then you have the closer. Stephen A was one of them. You have Giannis could do work, and Dame. We talking about Portland Dame. He's one of the best closers in the NBA. So that's why people was just immediately putting him as a title favorite. So I have to say Dame. Jimmy Butler's a good player, but I don't think Butler's just never been that player that like a final piece per se. He could be a final piece to maybe a team that's already a good team, but he's not on the same level as Lillard. Other than that, I can't. Really.
But he's in a good situation, and the Warriors they're kind of on a hot streak as well.
He's a great complimentary piece to the Warriors. Now he's fit because he's a high IQ vet. That's basically the Warriors. I mean, with Curry and Green, they just high IQ players. So he just fits right in. He's just doing what they do. But I just cannot think of another player besides Dame who really. Yeah, you need a championship, Doc.
That'd be sad if you never at least and not just win, just to get to one. It's just a shame because I know he had some deep playoff runs with Portland and whatnot, and he just couldn't overcome Jokic and those other guys as well. So, but he's staying in the NFL. So again, this pains me. I didn't want to talk about this topic, but obviously, so my Steelers. All right, everybody was so excited. We got DK Metcalf. Seemed like Seattle. They're just doing a complete rebuild. They trade their quarterback to the Raiders. We'd love to have Tommy B here. Certainly talk about the changes they're signing Max and as well as getting the quarterback. So it's not likely they'll be looking to draft one. But so the Steelers get arguably certainly one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL in DK Metcalf. Everybody remembers the video of him chasing a dude down 30 yards ahead of him. And he just walks him down and tackles him. Beast of a quarterback, a wide receiver. But our quarterback situation is in the doldrums right now. We don't have a signed starter. But they say a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. We ain't having either one. So Justin Fields signed a 2-year deal with the Jets. And Russell Wilson, again, he's already out there traveling. It's like, from what I'm understanding, Steelers don't want Russell Wilson to come back. I guess the Russell Wilson show soured in Pittsburgh. So again, I got my first exposure of that. So they're looking for a quarterback right now, and we are left putting all our hopes on 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and that's looking more likely than not. The only other possibility that I've seen out there that may be a possibility is they talk about this kid Joe Milton, I saw him in the combine last year. The guy has a howitzer for an arm. Howitzer. He was dropping 70-yard passes and waiting for guys to get downfield before he would throw the ball out. So the guy's got a cannon of an arm. So possibly a trade with the Patriots to try to get him. But here it is. You go into the week excited because you got this great wide receiver, and you got no one to throw on the ball yet. And again, I'm putting, as I put in my banner here, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. He basically destroyed the Jets. Literally cancer. Got the coach fired, got the GM fired. Just a horrible situation there. The man seems more interested in his ayahuasca trips and meditation classes and stuff. And I just think that's just drama you don't need. But at the same time, you got to do stuff desperate. So first of all, welcome Mandrell again and Coach to the show. Thanks for hopping on board with us tonight. So I'll start with Coach first. What do you think, sir, of the Steelers situation? What do you think direction they should go in? Should they maybe, or should they try to get Russ back? Because at this point, they don't have a lot of options at QB. What do you think the Steelers need to go in this situation?
All right. So before I'm gonna answer the Steelers, and DK Metcalf, top 10. He ain't a top 5 receiver. Let's be real about that. There's 7, 8 other receivers better than him. However, there was a good pickup. But one of the big things they have now is that, like you said, the quarterback. They're going to have to get young. If they're going to do the fact that they sort of letting both quarterbacks go ahead and go young. You're going to struggle at quarterback regardless. Aaron Rodgers, he's past his prime. I guess they making it a move if they want to get Tomlin out of his quarterback, bring in Aaron Rodgers. He gets way more leeway than he deserves as far as being able to make certain things happen. Maybe because he goes out into the woods every year and smoke weed and drink, and he's one of those type of guys. But they give him a lot of passes that they don't give most quarterbacks. I would just go ahead and draft. If you bring in Rodgers, I still would draft and make it an open competition. But any quarterback coming in the league now, they must be able to read defenses. It don't matter about your arm. You can throw the ball 75 yards down the field and throw 15 interceptions a season, but It's about being able to read defenses and your accuracy. So, I would. What draft pick are the Steelers?
Steelers are at 20 or 21 at this point. So again, quarterback is not going to be in the cards certainly for this year. At least not one of the first rounders. There is a guy. There is a guy, Paxton Daft, that I saw for Ole Miss. He may go second or third round. If he's there, I'd pick him up. If they draft that, but
quarterback sort of funny because after the first two, then everybody else can go down and draft.
It's a depreciable drop off after the second. But Carlos Mandrell, good to have you on the show as well. So I know you're kind of a moderate Steelers fan. At least you like the Steelers.
Not a moderate fan. I've been a fan since I was a little boy.
Okay, so what do you think we should do, man? You embracing Aaron Rodgers or what?
No, he's way too old. That's a Band-Aid on a gangrenous wound.
Yes.
It's not going to fix anything.
That's right.
Getting rid of Wilson, I thought, was a mistake, in my opinion. I didn't think he was really given a chance. I mean, people have argued with me about it. I'm just like, I don't see it. I don't see where he's really given a real chance of a quarterback. Because there's a difference between a coach building a team, but then the quarterback has built a team too around himself.
Right.
That's because it's a different relationship. I don't think he really got a fair opportunity to do that. And releasing him is way too premature, in my opinion.
I mean, they could possibly still bring him back. I mean, if the money's right, I mean, they could certainly bring him back, especially because if Aaron's talking about I want $40 million, I think that ship's going to sail too.
Get 40.
Right. So I think if that's what he's asking for, then I think that's just going to sail. But
my thing is, teams have done things that are far more stupid than that.
Like the Browns we talked about in the last block.
Right. Some teams have done made some boneheaded plays, man. In the administration level, so
I may have to push back a little bit on Coach though. You said top 10. I can name 4 guys better than DK Metcalf. After that, it's all bets off. It's 50-50. So I got obviously Justin Jefferson. I got Ja'Marr Chase. I got Tyreek Hill, and I got AJ Brown. Everybody else after that, it's a
Ahmad St. Brown is better. You have what's his guy?
St. Brown.
And Tyreek Hill's not in the top 5 either. He's probably the top 10. Yeah. You have AJ.
I mentioned AJ.
DK. Who was it?
I said Ja'Marr.
49ers.
For the 49ers? Oh, well, not Debo. Oh, not Ayuk. Ayuk is hurt. Well, Ayuk is hurt, and Debo
Samuels is better than DK Metcalf.
Oh, come on.
Tyler Lockett is better than
now you try. Now you try.
DK Metcalf is barely getting 1,000 yards.
Now you tripping. He hasn't had a decent quarterback to get to him.
Now it's the quarterback.
Okay. I could pick 5. You got Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Ahmad St. Brown. I put Puka Nacua. Who else?
T. Higgins.
I still take the Devontae Adams. He got to have a steady quarterback. But going back to the Steelers, I was saying I have a name for you.
Good.
Kirk Cousins.
No. No. No.
Because
No.
Atlanta, I believe,
No.
will absorb a lot of Cousins' contract. Cousins is a good.
No.
If you're not going to be able to pick these quarterbacks high in the draft, Cousins is a better option than a Wilson. You already canceled Rodgers, so you don't want Rodgers. Cousins is not going to really be a hinder to the locker room.
No.
I say Kirk Cousins because there's no other option you have. You might
That's what you know it does. Bring back Mason Rudolph. I'll take him over Cousins.
I'll say Kirk Cousins because you're going to have. Because I think did y'all lose Najee Harris?
Yes, Najee. Yeah.
So you got to find a running back for.
We did. We signed a running back from the Eagles, so we signed him to pair with Jalen. So I'm not so much worried about obviously the main need is.
So he's going to have if Cousins goes, he's going to have two good A receivers with Metcalf and Pickett.
Man can't stay healthy.
And
he can't stay healthy. And he just complained that he played half the year with an injury that he didn't tell anybody. So no, I'm sorry.
Well, that's the thing. Is that if Atlanta will absorb a lot of that huge contract they gave,
it doesn't matter if the guy can't stay upright. The guy can't stay upright. So absolutely
y'all don't want no other quarterback. You eliminate all the other quarterbacks. So
all right, this is getting nowhere. All right, we're gonna close. I did have one question for you since you're from Houston. So obviously, there was a lot of upheaval. Washington got Tunsil from Houston. Apparently, from what I read, there was a lot of toxic environment on that O-line. So I don't know what happened, but obviously for C.J. Stroud, having to rebuild your O-line is never a good thing. You give up an all-pro caliber guy like Tunsil who goes to Washington. So what is going on in Houston from what you understand since you follow them as well?
They just got tired of sacks. They had high expectations in Stroud's second season, and it literally just got derailed because the O-line could not protect them. And to the point where I remember when people was in the Super Bowl and they was talking about how Patrick Mahomes was looking in that one game versus Philly, and they D-line was chasing him all over. He couldn't get no type of rhythm. I said, okay, that's just that one game. Stroud been dealing with that the whole entire season, just like that. So they say that's good. Larry Townsend, he's a good tackle, but he gets too much penalties. It's so much time they get a play and hold back because of a holding call and whatnot. But I think he's gonna be a good pickup for the Commanders. But he's a penalty magnet, and so they just want to revamp because that second season, and people want to say sophomore slump with Stroud. I'm like, no, that O-line.
Guys and all, he's been a Pro Bowl the last 3 years.
They got Shaq Mason gone, Laramie Tunsil gone, and the other one who just got traded. I just forgot his name. But three of the starting linemen just got shipped off, and they want a different culture with the O-line. It was really because of last year. In Houston, they had high expectations for how that first year went, and how the second. Even though they didn't have a bad season, they still made the playoff. They had a playoff victory, but it's just they offense slid, especially the second half. That's why the offensive coordinator was let go. And that offensive line with all them sacks, I think they gave up the most sacks in the season in the NFL last year. They say, yeah, we gotta make some changes. Yeah. That's basically what that was. They just shipped everybody off.
All right. Well, we'll continue to follow the free agent market. Again, I get feeds all the time, so I don't know what we're going to do. Hopefully, we'll have this quarterback situation figured out certainly by the weekend. But I want to move on to another story that, to my surprise, I got some of this in my feed, and I didn't know that this story made national news. So obviously there was an incident that happened with a track and field athlete So see if I can share my screen here so we can see what's going on. So here was a situation where so you had this athlete who hit he put a warning on it, hit this girl in the head doing this is a 4x200 race, high school athletes in Virginia, and I've never seen anything like this before where this happened. Apparently the girl who actually did the hitting was getting a lot of heat, so she came out. She had this sort of tearful response. She never apologized. She tried to explain more so like basically what had happened was, but then I heard this debate with, look, I know with track and field, I don't know if you guys ever ran track and field, I know certainly with certain races you can get bunched up, people get tripped up, and tumbles and things like that happen and whatnot.
Never that high in the air. She hit that chick on purpose.
According to her, she said that
they weren't that bunched up together. Look at the tape again.
Yeah, the other girl kind of started merging to her lane. I think her baton.
She didn't even go into her lane. She stayed in her lane like the whole time.
Yeah, but her baton, she was saying, got stuck. It got stuck in her head, I guess. And when she raised it up, somehow, even after she freed her hand from it being stuck, the hand still magically came forward and whacked the girl in the head.
It went forward and out, so it wasn't like if she was like right in front of her here, like you're doing your running or whatnot, but she reached out to the right.
While looking at the girl.
Yeah,
her eyes are on the other girl. Her eyes are on the other girl. If you really want to
apologize, you would apologize because she went. The girl
right, there was no apology from the girl.
Race, go apologize to her.
There was no apology from the track coach. And that girl, she actually had a concussion. So, I mean, she was actually on Good Morning America.
The girl
and, what did you guys think of that, Coach? I mean, I don't know if you worked the track.
Brother Bennett, now we all got children. Now, if we'd have seen that, we damn near would have wrecked the whole damn meat. It would have been over. Ain't no more meat. Let's be honest now. It's poor sportsmanship. It's bad coaching. It's bad parenting all rolled up into one. She's lucky that little girl didn't get hurt worse than she did. Come on now. Come on now.
Well,
if I trip you up, Brother Bennett, while you trying to lift 300 pounds, man, come on, man. Come on. We got to look at that. This is dangerous right here. And it's unfortunate that it's coming into the sports. And you see, it didn't. Guys ain't gonna do all this. We gonna settle it on the competition. She actually knew that she was gonna lose, probably knew the girl in some capacity. And look what she did. She assaulted this woman. This is a case. Could be a Class A felony or something. I mean, come on, man. It's just sad, man. Like, women, get this shit together.
What got to me, because you could tell the parents was influenced her whole, I guess, interview. They want to make it look like she was
lying.
It was an accident.
So you're messing with my mentals,
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like she, all this social media coming after her, and they just basically made her, portray a victim.
Yeah, she's like getting further. I don't know, death threats. I don't know if that's even how do you get?
Yes, well, people give out death threats for almost anything nowadays. It's common practice for morons to give out death threats to people for whatever. You cross the street, walking backwards. You should be dead. Someone should kill you for that. People say stupid stuff like that all the time. It's unnecessary. It's ridiculous. It's definitely not warranted here. Not warranted at all. I know she did something wrong. I personally believe that she hit that young lady on purpose. I do. I'm not buying the excuses I've heard her say. Yeah. I'm not buying it. You hit that young lady in the head on purpose with that stick. Okay? Yeah. And even with that, I don't believe that she should get death threats because of that.
Yeah.
That's far too much. To me, that's way too much, but that's just me.
Right.
The death threats ain't warranted. She should definitely, the coach, I can't say the coach should be fired because I don't know if he was in on it, but if he was in on it, then yes.
But again, they haven't. Now again, this stuff always gets tricky.
They haven't apologized either.
But again, it always gets tricky because it's like if you apologize, then it's like an admission of guilt, and if they come after you with a lawsuit or what have you, so it's almost any legal person would say nothing. and it's better to say nothing than to admit blame or apologize.
My thing is this: if it's an accident,
you apologize.
And then
exactly.
Especially the coach.
Right, Shawnee? Right? And coach? Yeah. And plus, especially if it was an accident, you say, hey, I'm so sorry. You know, it was an accident. I honestly did not mean for that to happen. You know, even in court, hey, it was an accident. You're admitting guilt. Yeah. You hit the young lady in the head. Either way it goes.
Yeah. He would take care of it internally.
Accident or not.
And as a coach, as a coach, you get in front of it to protect your player from this. And you say, listen, I will definitely discipline my athlete and you know what I'm saying, and go from there. And if anything, she'll be suspended from 3 or 4 track meets. It is what it is, because that's an egregious act, man. That's has nothing to do with sports at all.
Right. Like I said, whether it's on purpose or total accident, or just a complete freak accident, you still hit that young lady in the head.
Yeah. And it's not to say that legal action may be pending. So I think we're in such a litigious society now that it's hard to just say, even just to apologize. I take responsibility for it. That doesn't always end it these days. Given we're such a litigious society right now. So,
but again, gesture though.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the right thing to do. Yeah. But I mean, again, from a legal point of view, it's like say nothing. That seems to be where things are going. But from a coach,
the problem is with social media. Social media connects you to the people in your community and neighborhood and people that know these people. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these people will retaliate with some crazy responses. And I think that's where the family understands. They understand that outside of the sports world, regular folk, ninjas, and you done hit their little cousin upside the head, they ready to do some stuff, and they'll voice that. So it's just sad all the way around.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
And what's going on with those batons though? Because I'm thinking I didn't know that you could do that kind of.
It's aluminum.
Damage.
Yeah, it's an aluminum.
It's an aluminum stick, dude.
They nice.
But you can get. I mean, I know it's what I'm saying, but to get concussed, she had a concussion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she came down with it. She came down
with
it.
The back of your head is soft. It's soft.
She came down with it.
The crown of the head, the front. That's the hardest part of the body.
Right.
It don't work the same way in the back of the head.
No,
right.
No.
Like how many people? Here's a story from the military story. Okay, there's some guys in AIT, right? 2 guys got into it. Their AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training. Place you go right after basic training.
Right.
The 2 guys got into it, and they were beefing for weeks. Finally, one guy gets up, and he's holding his Kevlar helmet in his hand, right?
Mm.
And the other guy is up at the front of the room, right? This guy walks up, smack, right in the back of the head. That guy is a vegetable. That guy's a vegetable until he died.
Wow, just from a slap.
With the Kevlar helmet,
Yeah.
Wow.
Kevlar helmet shit. That shit like
what I'm saying, right, Coach?
I'm just thinking maybe track and field they should use those those noodles that
you should still use the aluminum.
The styrofoam or something.
Still use the aluminum stick, okay? Because this might be the first time this has ever happened in track and field. Ever.
Like I said, I've seen tumbles. I've seen people get tripped up, and the whole especially in those steeplechase things, and everybody kind of tumbles over. Now, what I didn't see though was what was the result of the race, and that was because that was a 4x200 indoor. So was the whole team? Does the ref at the time, do they automatically just disqualify?
The entire team,
the team or out the race. I don't
real time like that. I don't know. If
or does the race continue in that vein? Like when something like that as egregious as happened. So I don't know.
The one girl, she didn't finish, and I think the other girl who hit her, she obviously slowed down. So
she finished the race though, Shawnee.
Yeah.
She finished the race.
She finished, but she wasn't on. She wasn't sprinting with the rest of the pack.
Right.
Well, she sucked anyway. That's why she hit the other girl in the head.
Right.
She was losing.
Would you stop? So what's the coach? So what's the? I don't know if you ever coach track and field, but what's the thing?
What would happen is the fact that let's just if we are officials and we saw it in real time, right? We will immediately understand that one, we probably be like, oh, do whatever. But then we go to the rule book. Rule book would probably say you can suspend the entire team in this event because this is a team event. So they can be disqualified in the team as a team, and at that event. Now, if it was the 100, then I could be disqualified as the individual. But also within those rules, the entire team can be disqualified from the competition.
Right, but then where would you place that? Where would you place the team where the girl got hit? This was because I think this was like the second or third leg of the relay where that took place.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't know exactly what the particulars are in that case. That'll probably have to be sort of something within a board or something.
I mean, it couldn't be first because you had a woman; she was already out in front, so she was. Yeah, so they would like bound second or third or something like that.
The high school, like the NCAA, the executives would say what would happen, but of course they couldn't win the race. So, but the other team will probably just get disqualified from maybe future events because a lot of those things she may be disqualified for the rest of the season, the track season. Because that's something like that could really take a life.
She put that video like that.
Exactly. She know. They know.
Yeah.
They know what's happening.
You think them tears were real or was crocodile tears?
Yeah, they're real. I think they're real, but not for the reason that she was claiming.
Sometimes you just get caught
because she's afraid that she might.
She getting them death threats. That's what she's scared of.
Yeah. That's swinging them helmets. Remember, that's what Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett. Thankfully, it didn't contact like Garrett like that because it probably would have happened like what Mandrell said. Probably could have caught him in the back of the head.
Man,
Garrett would have been no. That was Rudolph who would have been looking like a vegetable.
And Myles Garrett would have been pushing. He'd been over in St. Quentin, bench pressing 600 pounds.
Yeah, that's
he would have been a local strong man.
And the guy who hit the other guy in the head with the Kevlar, he went to Leavenworth.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And for y'all who don't know, Leavenworth is a military prison.
And you still in the military when you go, so it is what it is.
Wow.
You are.
Yeah, so you're not dishonorably discharged. You're still
after you serve your time.
After you serve your time, but you're still in there until they discharge.
Wow. And let's say you only signed up for the Army for 4 years.
For 3 years, yeah.
But you get 6.
You got 7
years, right? You get 7 to 12 years or something like that. You're still in the Army on paper for all that time you're doing in prison. So you belong to Uncle Sam.
Gotcha.
All of that time. You know what I'm saying? They'll give you that dishonorable, like Coach just said. They will give you that dishonorable discharge once you get out. And if you think you go into the VA with a dishonorable discharge,
you don't get nothing.
Again, you get nothing.
Zero.
With a dishonorable discharge. They don't know you, never saw you before. Okay, you sign up now? No, we don't want it.
Gotcha. Let's get to CJ's question real quick before we get to some boxing. That's one of the reasons I invited Mandrell up to talk a little boxing and whatnot. We haven't done that for a minute. So question for the panel. Thus far in the NFL free agency, what AFC, NFC teams are closer to February now? And I think he kind of answered one. I think Washington, I think certainly getting Tunsil. I think they certainly have improved. And they also got added Debo to their team. So I think they've certainly much improved. I got to look at L.A. L.A. just got Devontae Adams. So that's another weapon. So I think that L.A. Rams.
Yeah, Rams. Yeah.
So I think they're gonna. So I think they've increased, and I also got to give credit to I know. Shout out to our guy Hink. I know. I'm sure he's appreciative of the Bears.
He doesn't.
I think the Bears have certainly done some things.
Fan.
Vikings. Do they have a quarterback yet?
Right.
I mean, if you're gonna go with the rookie, I don't know yet, and I think Rodgers is supposed to even talk to Minnesota, so I don't even know if that's a done deal yet. So, but I would say those 3 teams: Bears, Rams, and Washington.
Ravens.
I think they was that the Ravens. Ravens gonna be the Ravens. They're gonna be there.
Hopkins today.
Yeah. With the Ravens, how much
Ravens is the place where these older wide receivers go to retire. That's where
they keep giving Jackson
go.
more weapons.
That's where they
weapons because that was a narrative. And when he was younger, he needed more receiving weapons. They've been giving it to him. It just when is it going to work?
Right. I think
exactly. That Adams to the Rams, I think going to be huge.
Yeah, I think those are the Bengals.
Stafford,
for sure.
Yeah, I got to keep that to myself. That's a potential fantasy thing right there.
There you go.
I agree with Shawnee on that one. All
right. So let's talk a little boxing and I got something else. I'm going to try to squeeze in here What I may try to do in the future, if we can have a boxing segment so we can get a little more detail in here. I have this thing. I did this years ago, and I meant to bring it up again. But the dream matchups, right? So there's the stuff that we could have saw that we didn't, put these fighters in. So I may want to just do a lightning round this time, but maybe in the future we can have a segment where we kind of go in these with a little more depth. And I know some of these fighters coach are from the 80s, so I'm sure you'd have some insight into these guys too. But a couple weeks ago, so you had Tank Davis was in a fight with Lamont Roach. Good fighter overall. Tough fight. It was a majority draw, and it was controversial because Tank, of his own volition, I don't think he went down from a punch. He took a knee because he claims that he got his hair done a few days earlier, and some of the whatever chemical they used in his hair got in his eyes, and he took a knee, and it wasn't ruled a knockdown. And so the controversy is, one, why did the ref not call it a knockdown? It was apparently also reviewed by the New York State Athletic Commission, and they basically cleared Davis. So again, initially there was a possibility that they may reverse the decision and give the fight to Roach. But again, they held for him, so it's a majority draw on his record. It doesn't look like they're going to rematch anytime soon. I think, with Tank, I think, he's going to look at, potential fights now because I think he's looking vulnerable. He was the cash cow, so to speak, of boxing up to this point. So, Mandrell, what were your thoughts on the fight, on the controversial no call, and where do you think Tank Davis goes from here? And again, any one of you guys, if you follow, you can certainly chime in on this as well.
Okay. Your first question, my thoughts on the fight. Tank lost.
Yes.
He did.
Knockdown, or the non-knockdown or not, or just you think
Whether
he would have
non-knockdown or not, he lost.
So right, so he was just out. Yeah, he was out.
He actually lost that fight. Either way you shake it, even without the knockdown, Tank lost that fight because Roach put up a far better fight than anyone thought he would.
Exactly.
I think Tank, and it depends on what happens in this rematch. Okay, because now this rematch is going to be a hard one to call because Tank has something to prove now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so does Lamont. But also, y'all give Steve Willis a break. He actually is a fantastic referee.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually my favorite referee in boxing, Steve Willis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, really good, genuine guy, down to earth. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes his eyes are going crazy. One eye's looking this way, the other one's looking
chameleon.
You're right. The chameleon thing going on. He has that sometimes.
Well, I'm sorry, the iguana, not the kid.
Right, and then there's other times you see him and it's like they're straight, just like everyone else. It's like, wait, does he do it on purpose, or But you dare not ask him. You don't want to ask him to his face. But okay, yeah. So y'all give Steve Willis a break. Okay, I don't know what the call was. I'd like to hear from him, like him give a statement or something like that.
Well, I'm sure he went to because, like I said, when the board reviewed it, so I'm sure they probably brought him in to get his side of the story too. But
yeah, and I think there's a video out there of him responding to it. I'll look it up. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I know he's in a response. I just hadn't had time to sit down and watch it. All right, but Tank, you lost, man. Okay, now here's where the greatness comes out. If he is great, he'll accept the rematch. And he'll do it with the title on the line, the whole nine. He'll fight his heart out.
Right. Do you think it'll be next? I don't think it's going to be next, though. I think he might be looking at Loma, or he might be looking at somebody else.
It has to be next. It has to be next. You don't have a choice. It has to be next. Mm-hmm. You got to run that back. Okay. But it's one of the reasons why Floyd Mayweather is not great in my book. My book, Floyd, he's not great. He's not something. He doesn't have all the tools like the greats that I think of. Terence Crawford has all of the tools, every single one, and ones that he made up. Okay, he invented stuff that hadn't even been invented yet. But you got the four kings in the '80s in the middleweight division. Hagler, Leonard,
Hearns and Duran.
Yeah, those are great. Ali was great. Mike Tyson was great. Floyd ain't that. Fantastic.
Ali didn't have all those tools though.
Ali had things that no one else had.
He had the footwork. I give you the jab, and I give you the right cross. He wasn't an effective body puncher.
Here's the thing: he did everything wrong, except for those things you named. Ali did everything wrong. When you watch him fight, and you learn boxing fundamentals, then watch Ali, you're like, no, he's doing everything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he figured something out. I still to this day don't know what it is. I don't think anyone knows what it is. He figured something out with boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And he just was able to do that. That's what made him great. He was able to do so much wrong, but still come out on top handily in most cases. Now, back to Tank. As far as where does he go from here? Like I said, he has to accept the immediate rematch with Roach. You have to. You got to clear the air with that. Because a lot of people saw that knockdown, saw him take a knee, and people are upset that they didn't call it a knockdown. But okay, why are you not upset with him taking a knee just in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you took a knee to get a break. This dude was still beating. He was taking everything you had, and he kept coming.
Yeah.
And
he's coming up in weight. He's a lighter guy. He was champ at 126.
Mm-hmm.
He was like so he's moving up.
Yeah,
but he could take Tank's. Because I was thinking, I didn't think he'd be able to take Tank's punches, but he took some good shots and kept coming, especially to the body. So
right, I didn't either. I thought Tank had this one in the bag.
Yeah,
but boy, I called it wrong on this one.
Yeah,
but I'm still calling it Canelo. So y'all can hang that up. After Crawford whoops Canelo's ass, I don't want to hear any more Crawford slander.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there. Well, obviously they got some fights coming up. They got Canelo fights in May. So, Crawford, is he fighting anybody?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I can't give it to him. You're talking about a year plus over a year layoff. I can't at his age, not fighting on a regular basis. I just don't think you can turn on. Time catches up to everybody.
It does.
And I just think Canelo, say what you want about who he's fighting. The guy is in a fight twice a year, religiously. And so I can't give it to him at this point, but we're gonna, as we get closer to that fight, obviously if the fight comes off, if there's no accidents or anything that comes off, we can certainly break that down. But let's talk about also the other big news from this past week: Dana White and that sheik from the Middle East. They're gonna be starting their own boxing division.
Yeah, they want boxing division or promotion.
Well, it's a promotion.
Okay,
yeah.
I was about to say, I heard promotion. I was seeing promotion. I was like, their own division.
No, it's promotion. Well, I mean, he's gonna have to get a stable fighter because it's not like, these guys. If you're signed with a promoter already, I don't know how easy it is to break those contracts. If you got to deal with one of the streaming platforms, YouTube or what's that, Netflix or whoever it is, those aren't going to be easy promotions to break. So I don't see how, who you're going to fill your roster with. And I heard when he interviewed on ESPN at First Take, he was talking about, we're going to get, build this roster. There's a lot of good young talent out there, which means you're not going after the talent. You can't get Tank. You can't get Usyk. You can't get a lot of these fighters who are already with promotional companies already. So who are you going to fill your roster with? I mean, there might be some hidden talent out there, but I don't think it's going to.
In boxing, absolutely. There's so much hidden talent that you have never heard of and you never will hear of. It's ridiculous. Like how many fantastic boxers get screwed over.
But still, it's going to take a while to build because the whole thing with Dana is his platform is you want the best fighting the best. He doesn't. If we launches this thing, he's not going to have access to the best fighters.
Right.
So that's going to take some time to build if he's able to get these guys. Now, if a guy rolls off a deal and he decides that he wants to sign up with whatever this promotional company is, then I guess you can build it up from there. But I mean, unless Eddie Hearn gives up his staple of fighters or Bob Arum, who I know you don't like.
Yeah. Another woman Bob Arum might be just dumb enough to give up his best fighters. Because he's an idiot. But my man Eddie Hearn, he ain't giving up his best fighters.
No.
You think he would give up AJ for anyone, Dana White?
No. So and Dana, and the thing with Dana, now I know that he's being backed by that Turkey Al-Sheikh out there, because I know Dana doesn't pay his UFC fighters at all. So I mean, that's like the biggest point with the UFC. I mean, the top guys get something, but everybody else gets like minimum wage out there. I mean, that's why he's able to keep the costs low. So it's not like these guys are making big time money. But I just want to
UFC
just real quick. Let me
boxing.
Yeah, let me just get to these here. So again, we got Devin Haney fighting Jose Ramirez in May. Who you got?
I got Haney.
I'll pick Haney. For now, I think he just took Ryan for granted. I think Ryan was acting a fool out there, and he just got caught. And once he got caught with that first left hook, he was not able to recover from that. So I'll take him, Mandrell or Coach. Anybody wants to jump on this? If you follow, who would you have in this fight coming up with Devin Haney in May?
I'll be quick. Yeah, I'll pick Haney. I think a lot of people saw just how vulnerable Haney was to the left hook in that fight against Garcia.
Yeah.
But the problem is Haney saw it too, and so did his dad. So they're gonna fix that. Believe me, they've been working on fixing that. They have to,
Yeah.
Floyd is a great defensive fighter.
Again, thank you for the $2 super chat.
Yeah, for the $2 super chat. Defensive fighter, maybe he is definitely in the discussion. I'm not I'm not a Floyd hater. I'm not taking nothing from Floyd. So yes, as far as the best defensive fighter, he is definitely in the discussion, and probably is, as far as one aspect of boxing, which is defense. He might be the best of all time at that.
But he's got a problem. It's very disingenuous to say Floyd isn't. He didn't say he's an all-time great. I don't think he's not saying he's not an all-time great.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if you say he's a specialist at boxing, at defensive boxing, an all-time great.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
No.
I would have to.
He's one of the best. He's probably the best.
No, here's the thing. No, I can't give him that.
Has he ever been knocked down?
Yes.
How many times? Maybe once or twice.
Once. Zab Judah. Here's the thing.
Once.
It wasn't counted as a knockdown though. His glove hit the canvas, but it wasn't scored a knockdown. It wasn't
counted as a knockdown, but it was. But here's the thing. Floyd would take that. Like Floyd, he's a fighter. He's a boxer. He's not a warrior though. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. If Floyd had a fight like this whole thing with Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, like we're talking about now, Floyd would duck Roach if he was in that same position. Because Floyd's done that before. He's been in the ring where people have beaten the crap. He's lost, but the refs, but the judges gave it to him. He's been in fights where he was bested, but the judges gave it to him because Floyd started becoming the face of boxing. He started becoming the big money maker. And shout out to him. Now here's the thing: if you're talking about the best businessman in boxing, absolutely irrefutable. Irrefutable. Floyd is the best businessman in boxing ever. Of all, and it's by a country mile. No one's coming close.
That is true. He definitely made his money. Yeah, although towards the end, I was like, after a while, I was not going to buy another pay-per-view of his. After the Pacquiao fight, which was 5 years too late, I said that's the last time. That's the last time I would ever support.
Why you wasn't going to buy no more fights he was in, but outside these exhibitions he be having. But
I don't even. That's what those. I didn't support. I didn't pay for the fight he had with Conor McGregor. I didn't pay for that. Like I said, my standard is I want the best fighting the best in the sports that they're in. All these expeditions cross
that Dana White's supposed to be bringing.
The Tyson Paul fight. I mean, there's no way I was buying it.
Here's the thing. Now look at where Dana runs UFC, right? He allows John Jones to get away with bloody murder because John Jones is his biggest draw. But John Jones is a coward too. He's not a true champion because he's afraid to test himself, like Floyd is. Floyd was afraid to test himself against. His process.
True. He ain't lying. He's not lying right there.
CJ, you ain't lying. I got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
All right, so real quick, we're towards the end of the show, so I'm let's see if we can do this rapid fire. If we need to come back and revisit this, if you guys are interested in this, we can do this a little. We can come back and revisit this and have like a segment on it. I'm gonna give you these dream matchups, and Shawnee, you gotta. I don't know if you saw these fights or not, or saw these fighters, so you may know these guys or not, or saw them at their heyday, or watched them YouTube or what have you. But I'm gonna give these out. I know Coach and Carlos, I know they can certainly fill in here. But here's some of the biggest dream matches that we never saw, never would ever see
except I got one here that we should have seen. But we're going to give these a shot. So I got here Aaron the Hawk Pryor versus Julio Cesar Chavez in their prime at 140.
I'm not.
Yeah, this is some of the classics. This is some of the 80s and 90s. So that's one.
It's just a matchup you just put there, man.
Yeah, 140. They both of those fighters fought most of their career at 140. So again, they didn't move up or whatever. So again, prime. So you're talking about the Aaron Pryor that fought Alexis Arguello, the Chavez who fought Mildred Taylor. I'm talking about those guys. You got the immovable object versus the irresistible defense. Neither fighter is going backwards. Who you got there? Then I got in my next fight here, okay, old school, all right, Evander Holyfield versus Michael Spinks at 175.
At 175.
Yes.
All right.
And then I got one, and then I got two more. All right. Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis. That was the fight we should have saw. What we didn't at the time, it was 1992.
Both fight several people. Lennox Lewis is one of them. Mike Tyson is another one.
I know, but I'm saying that one because that fight should have happened. Yeah. You saw the famous scene where Riddick Bowe threw the championship. He didn't want to fight Lewis. He threw the championship in the garbage. That set back boxing 25 years because that fight didn't take place. Yeah. My last one, going with CJ's point, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, 147. Who you got? So we got Aaron Pryor versus Julio Cesar Chavez. We got Evander Holyfield versus Michael Spinks at 175. Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis, 1992 at their primes. Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather at 147. Who you got? I'm just
easy. Wait till it's my turn.
All right, coach. Let's give this to Coach. Coach, I know you go back to the 80s, so you know these guys.
All you Floyd stands, please.
I'll just go backwards. Sugar Ray Leonard, of course, because he was a warrior. He go in and he take on.
Yes.
So he
look at what he did to Floyd's daddy.
So I would take.
Yeah, but Floyd's daddy was not nearly the fighter Floyd.
No, I would take Sugar Ray. His resume, the fighters he went up against, I would probably put them over Floyd Mayweather too in his prime. So what you say? What was the?
Okay, so next one: Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis.
Oh man, Lennox Lewis would have knocked Riddick Bowe out, man.
You think so? No.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe, he was good early, but then if he didn't get you early, he would just sort of lose confidence. So
when you get in the deep waters,
I would take Lennox Lewis. And what's the next one?
Okay, Evander Holyfield versus Michael Spinks at 175, light heavyweight.
Michael Spinks.
Ooh.
And the last one.
The last one, Aaron the Hawk Pryor versus Julio Cesar Chavez in their primes at 140.
Chavez. But I'll throw this in there. I would say Chavez. I thought if I could see a fight of all time, regardless of generation, I would have loved to see Foreman and Tyson. That would have been a hell of a fight.
Which Foreman?
Young George Foreman.
Young George Foreman versus a prime Tyson. I got Tyson knocking him out in 2 rounds.
All the way.
Tyson in 2 rounds.
I don't know, man.
Yes, I agree with all of this.
They both have power. So.
Yeah, but Tyson was fast.
Fast, yes. Foreman was slow. Them big. Ali talked about them punches that be coming over like this. No, and he didn't have a chin. I mean, that fight with
Mike didn't have a chin either. We saw that.
You got to hit him first, though. That bob and weave. No. I got Tyson taking him out. Now the big George Foreman, that could be a problem because it seemed like him. He could take. You hit him with a brick and he ain't falling down. So
and also Tyson, he did have a solid chin. Go back and look at his face with Ruddock. Ruddock was cracking. Yeah, Ruddock was cracking. I mean, cow. I mean.
You're talking about the pre-Robin Givens era? Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Post-Robin Givens, it was
that's when the downfall happened.
All right, Shawnee, any of these Riddick Bowe, were you old enough to remember Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis?
Yeah, I remember Bo and Lewis, but just going off, if I can remember, all I can remember now is just going off the hype of the fighters from what I remember during that time. Now I'll go with Lennox Lewis. I just remember, did he have like a nice reach?
Yeah, they were both similar fighters. They were both
Yeah.
6'5" plus.
Yeah.
They had the good jab, they had the long reach, and again, they fought in the Olympics. I think Lennox Lewis beat Riddick Bowe in the 88 Olympics. I think they fought there, and so again, this was the fight, because again, you had Holyfield, Tyson was kind of still in the mix. You had all these guys. That was the fight that was supposed to happen, but after that, the heavyweight division. That's when you had the Klitschko's.
Promoters got in the way.
Is a pod. Promoters, Riddick Bowe didn't like the terms of the fight. He actually gave up a belt because I think Lennox was the mandatory, and I guess they were trying to force it, but he didn't like the terms that they were going with, so he basically abdicated the belt and didn't fight him. And you see where his career went kind of after that. He had the fights with Holyfield, but but again, we didn't get that should have been the two best heavyweights at the time. Especially given their size and how similar they were physically, that was the fight that should have took place, and that hurt boxing, especially the heavyweight division, more so than anything else. But I'll try, if I do this again, I'll try to get guys more in the 2000s in the more modern era. But because I know Carlos, I know he's a big historian. I know Coach goes back a while. So I'm kind of going back with them, but Carlos. So you got to give me your matchup. So again, I think you sold Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, 147. Who you got?
Who, me?
Yeah,
You Carlos.
You got him call him Carlos.
Let's just call him Mandrell. He's so used to being Mandrell, he forgot his name is Carlos.
Really talking to me.
All right, Mandrell. Okay, Mandrell.
This is witness protection program. He forgot his own name.
Right. First again, I'm sorry.
All right, so again, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, 147.
Oh, Leonard would annihilate him. You take Floyd at his absolute peak, his absolute best, on his absolute best night. Floyd maxed out 200% Floyd. Leonard knocks him out in 4 rounds.
Wow.
Leonard, I'm talking about a stone cold sleep.
He didn't knock out his father in 4 rounds.
So what? Floyd's not as tough as his dad. He's just, Floyd doesn't have the chin his dad had. His dad took some, his dad took some blows too now. Floyd has brittle hands. He breaks them all the time. They're like thin glass. That's the reason why Floyd doesn't get. He stopped getting so aggressive. When he first came out, you could see Floyd's speed. You could see his agility. You know what I mean?
135 and under, he was unbeatable.
Right.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's really fast. He was very much so aggressive, but he stopped because he kept hurting his hands. Floyd has never fixed that issue. So, that's why you saw him become much more defensive. And he became much more of a counterpuncher. But Leonard, all the way, he knocks him out in 4 or 5 rounds.
Okay. All right, so let's get through it. So Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, again, at their primes. Not when, because Bowe kind of fell off. He kind of got mental and all that. He just kind of, I'm saying, at that time, when that fight was supposed to happen, who did you like going into it? Because Lennox has no chin either. He's gotten touched several times.
Yeah. That's what makes me lean towards Bowe. I like Lewis. I like Lennox and all, but at the same time, I think Bowe would be too much for him. Okay.
All right. Now, this is probably the toughest one here for me. Evander Holyfield, Michael Spinks at 145. I would give Holyfield the power because he was destroying everybody at 175. That fight he had with Kwawi, he was just not. But Spinks at 175, he was such a skilled fighter, a tactician. So that's a toss up to me right there.
Well, the thing is, that's why people thought Spinks was going to beat Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Tyson beat him.
No, I never thought that.
Tyson got in the ring and beat him 40 seconds or a minute and 40 seconds or something like that.
He came in wearing knee pads.
Right.
He couldn't walk.
Right?
Yeah, he couldn't even walk.
He can't speak.
Nah, he knew he was gonna
that
get
one,
his knees.
you knew he was walking in the ring. You know, oh, this isn't gonna last long at all. I mean, he was scared. You saw his eyes and whatnot. This wasn't gonna last. Look, I'm getting $10 million, whatever it was, and I'm just gonna be this.
And Speaks never fought after that either.
That
was
right.
his last
He didn't
fight.
have to. That was retirement money right there.
That was Speaks'
all right,
last fight.
and the
people
big one here.
I give the edge to Spinks on that one.
Mhm.
Because of the difference in skill. Yeah, Evander had the power, and he got a chin made it pure granted. Shout out to him. He did. He had a chin that was as solid as they come.
Yeah, Vander at 1 and 190 for that matter. 175 and 190. He was just blowing people away.
He was undisputed.
Yeah, he was ridiculous. He was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the last one here again, Julio Cesar Chavez, Aaron Pryor, in their primes at 140.
This is a tough one for me. This is the toughest.
To me, that's my ultimate. I think that's my ultimate, because people talk about, what if a prime Tyson fought Ali or whatever, all that. But I'm talking about these are guys who you saw fighting at 140. You saw them at their best, and they were just indestructible. I mean, Chavez. I mean, you could possibly outbox him. Like Meldrick outboxed him, but he just walked him down. And Pryor, you could hit him with anything. I don't know what that guy Panama Lewis was putting in his water or whatever, but he was. I think he came to the fights high or something like that. He was on something. He was on something, because I mean, Arguello hit him with some shots flush, and he just kept punching. As soon as you punch him, he just punch back.
That's why this one's so tough for me. They're both tanks.
Beast.
They're both tanks, man.
Yes. And this is not going the distance. I would say that.
Somebody get knocked out.
Who you got?
It was like the Hagler and Hearns fights. Nobody. It was a point when that first fight first started. People thought, okay, one of them ain't walking out of here alive. Shawnee, it was like that, Shawnee.
Yeah.
Somebody ain't walking out of here alive. But anyway, to this one, Pryor has the more skill. I lean towards skill more so than anything else. But Chavez, that's a real live Rocky and event in an Apollo Creed fight right there.
Mm-hmm.
It really is,
Yeah.
I gotta give. I would root for Pryor. Would he win?
I was a huge Pryor fan back in the day.
I was saying I would root for Pryor.
Yeah.
Would he win?
And it hurt me when Chavez beat Meldrick, because I thought Meldrick had the fight. I mean, he fought. Yeah. Meldrick fought the most perfect fight, I thought, against Chavez. And he was never the same after that fight. It's like when you put everything out into a fight and then you lose, that like wrecks your career. It's the same thing that happened with Arguello. Arguello, after he fought, it's like, I can't beat this man. So I got nothing. I got nothing else to prove. So I think that took so much out of Meldrick. It ruined his career, even though he fought like a near perfect fight. But still, it's like he would hit Chavez 5 times. Chavez would hit him once, but when he hit him, he cracked him. Yeah. He had both eye sockets, orbital sockets broken. And he lost almost like a half a quart of blood in the fight, just bleeding out because there was. I mean, he took such a beating in that, and then to lose it in the literally in the final seconds of the fight, that would destroy most people, I think.
It reminds you of the more modern example would be Wilder and Fury, that third fight. Like look at both of them after the fact. It's just like you and I both called it, Paul. That's one of those fights where neither one of them will be the same again.
No relent. So
they put everything they had into that fight.
Yeah.
And look at it. We were right. Fury loses to Usyk twice, and Wilder lost to
Fury.
Not Fury. After him.
The Polynesian gentleman, right?
No, not the Polynesian. The white dude. He just fought. He was supposed to fight.
Well, he lost to the Polynesian guy. Then he lost to Zhang, the guy from China.
The Polynesian guy.
Yeah.
He had no business losing that fight, Wilder. But Wilder can't fight, and plus, he's not the same.
I don't know about that. I think that guy. I know he was supposed to fight.
Parker, isn't it?
No, yeah, Parker. Yeah, Joseph Parker.
Yeah,
He
Parker,
was supposed to fight Daniel Dubois. I thought that was going to be a good fight, actually.
I did too. That was going to be a good
So
fight.
so I
because
think
Parker was
he's got a
ready.
lot more skill, and you're always saying that Wilder has no skill.
He does.
So yeah, and it seems like he doesn't have a chin anymore either. So he's done.
Yeah, he's not the same. That's the
Yeah.
example we're giving you, people. That's a more modern example, okay? After the third fight with Fury, now they put so much into that fight.
It's you
Neither
emptied
one
it.
of them were the same after that. You're
And
not going
that's
to be.
all these fighters. Ali should have retired after really even before after the third Frazier fight. Ali should have retired then.
Yeah,
That should have been it. Frazier too. All of them should have been done. But it's
Because they both put. That's a fight. The third fight, Thriller in Manila. Ali and Frazier put everything they had into that fight. Like they
that
were
was
literally
yeah,
dying
They literally could have. It was 120 degrees
in the ring.
in the ring.
Yeah.
And they beat each other up for like 14 rounds. I mean, brutal. I mean, it's almost
Brutal
like that fight like that. Almost like you don't want to be a fight fan anymore. But it was a different game back then. But
Y'all
that
talking
guys,
about fighting. They over there fighting in the NBA right now. One of them left bloody.
oh geez, I got to check that out. And I got to check out the Celtics game also. But
the girls fight like that over games. Johnny, I told you I don't watch women's sports, Johnny. I don't know why you keep
I
trying to
don't
ask
know
me
what
about
they
it.
did to get somebody bloody, but I guess they must have been watching the show.
They thought they were playing hockey.
we're gonna keep the closing comment. We're gonna keep it short. Coach, why don't you just take us out? Take us out tonight, and we'll close out the show. We went over a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, I want to when we can, especially as we get up towards fights. Certainly, Mandrell, we'd love to have you up to certainly chop it up, and also go back and look at some of the classics. Classic matchups and whatnot. I got a ton of these matchups I didn't even mention. And so we can go back and go over. I love chopping it up with guys, talking about these dream matchups. But like I said, if I had one to choose, it would have been Pryor and Chavez. That to me is like the perfectly matched, like non-relenting fight. And that just would have been amazing if those guys fought in the same era. But Chavez came just a little bit later than he did. But Coach, why don't you take us out with your closing comment, and we'll close out the show.
I mean, good show, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of very interesting topics, man. And, shout out to the two guys at the top, man. Hopefully your teams are better next year. And, Mandrell, man, listen, it's always good to have a perspective from boxing, man. I know you're a boxing fanatic. And we all are too old to get in the ring, but it's good to daydream and wonder. Like Ali was saying, you wonder if it could have happened. But, it's springtime, man. Get outside, everybody get in shape, man. So we can have a little fake boxing match in the fall or something, man. Just get in some good shape. Eat healthy, get your health checkups, man. Make sure everything's functioning at a high functioning rate. And, man, salute, man. It's a good day. It's Wednesday, man.
Awesome. Well, again, I want to thank everybody who was in the chat tonight. I know JT showed up tonight. Lost in translation. Thank you for coming through as well. Good to you guys all. And CJ always supporting the channel. Again, can't thank you enough for the super chats, everything that you do to support the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Again, stay tuned for other content coming up on the network. In fact, this Sunday on the Black Man Unfiltered Network on the Gray Area Show, we have the pleasure of hosting a comedian, Mr. Dwayne White. He's a 20-year vet. And, he's actually going to be having his first Netflix special coming up very shortly. So we have him for the entire show in an interview. So definitely we encourage you guys to come back on Sunday for the Gray Area, but also stay tuned for other content. I know my man, Boss Man, Standing on Business, he should be coming up after us. And don't forget about the Friday Barbershop. So, again, lots of content on the BMD Network. Again, just make sure as you leave tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly helps the algorithm out. And but looking forward to next week. We'll see how it is. We'll see if I have a quarterback next week, and hopefully we will have a quarterback next week.
I think next week we'll know the entrance of March Madness.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got to get caught up, man. I've been honest.
Don't bother, man. Just let's focus on boxing, because here's the thing. Because people probably don't know this. I will be canceling my subscription to ESPN Plus as of the end of August, because they're ending
their boxing coverage.
They're losing the boxing contract. So it looks like, Mr. Bennett, looks like the Zone is like the only place we're going to be able to go.
Yeah.
To get boxing.
The Zone or say Amazon Prime or whatever for the pay-per-view. So,
right.
yeah.
Amazon Prime's a given. I think everyone has that. I think more people have that than Netflix, and you should because fantastic content over there. But I want to bring this up because you brought up Dana White and Turkey Al-Sheikh. They're making their boxing promotion company.
Mm.
Yeah, they're doing that, but the Zone has a contract with Turkey Al-Sheikh, and he's all in with the Zone. Like he's actually invested. He's on the board with the Zone now. So it looks like I'm predicting this. The future, the Zone's going to be the future of boxing as far as streaming content. Because ESPN, it seems they don't seem interested. ESPN Plus, there's not much content there.
Well, honestly, I don't think they really offered great product. Like in terms of fights, I don't know what the ratings were, but I don't think they had huge numbers on the boxing cards that they had. So
they don't even have live football games on that platform.
Right.
So I remember I've been thinking for a few months now, like, why do I have this? I order fights and I watch it through ESPN Plus.
Right.
But other than ordering a fight, and watching NFL primetime.
The only thing I'm going to miss with that was because, like I said, I didn't have the Zone, and the main reason why is because you could order those DAZN fights through ESPN Plus because I think a lot of those fighters were on the ESPN contract. Right. Now those guys are gone. Now it's like you have to go to the Zone.
Yeah.
And the only thing with the Zone is you pay for the fight and you still have to pay the monthly subscription, which but it is what it is.
If you have ESPN Plus, you're doing the same thing anyway.
True that.
But I'm with you on that one. That's why I just want to put that out there.
Right.
Top Rank is leaving ESPN, or ESPN is letting go of Top Rank.
Right.
One of the two. So it looks like the only place after August, only place to go see boxing content is DAZN.
DAZN, Amazon Prime.
I guess you're gonna have to get DAZN. Yeah. Because I don't have the like you. I don't have DAZN.
Right.
But
it's that time.
Yeah, looks like we're gonna get it.
Just move the money. But
that's it.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. God bless.
Yeah. Johnny, have fun with your March Madness. Whatever.